2-inch PVC does have some flex. I just don't want to flex it too much and break it.
Hello and welcome to, well, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already.
Okay, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I've been out here for an hour and a half or so. There is still water in some of the pipes. I didn't want to completely drain it because then you're wasting water. The reason I built it up on top is just so much easier to do your work. And I built as much as I could over each side trench. So I put the pieces of board underneath. So there's pieces of plywood all the way along here to keep everything flat and level. 2-inch PVC does have some flex. I just don't want to flex it too much and break it. The bottom end has water in it still, so it's a little bit heavier. So if I just move it a little bit at a time, I think we'll be okay. I figured if I started being really careful, that would make everything easier. Sloshing around here. That one went well. I didn't have any trouble there. This was an idea to keep in mind if you ever run into something like this. That brace floats on the pipe. It's not attached tightly, right? But that keeps the pipe sitting up so it doesn't want to roll over, because if it's full of water, especially with the hose hooked up to it, it's got a lot of leverage and it's going to twist the pipe. Later on I'm going to build probably something rock masonry, something like that, to protect that. You know, pour some concrete maybe. I couldn't do anything until I had it dropped in place though. It's fairly low, which is good because coming out of the truck, I can slope my hose down. I'm going to make a kind of a bridge that the hose can run down. And then I'll mark where I want my wheels so I can back up to the right spot, stop, set up the bridge, run the hose, and then reset. So, water coming out. We've got a shut-off valve here. So basically I did a shut-off valve on every spur. Later on, I'm going to cut that cap off and put another valve there and go down, because that's where the eventual domes are going to be, probably, wherever I decide to set up a house. Years from now, probably, at this rate. These two I need risers on. I don't think I have enough pipe to do it, so I'll just leave them done like that, and I'll leave these valves shut off. For now, I'm leaving these valves open because these are capped off, and that gives me a little bit of an air column there. Doesn't make so much difference now, but if we got thermal expansion here, and if I got all the valves closed, it's going to build up pressure, and so having some air in there will allow it to compress a little bit. That should keep me from blowing a pipe. We'll see. So I'm leaving these two open, and there's always going to be some air trapped in there. And then This is where the IBC is going to go. And some of my trenches are off-centered, or the pipes are off-center on the trench. So now that I can see where everything is sitting, I'm going to clean some of that up and then just kind of carefully scoop the dirt out. Ideally, this is kind of why I went the way I did. If I'm 51 now, and if I do this right, this manifold should last me the rest of my life. So that's kind of the goal. I don't want to be out here when I'm 80 or 90 digging it up and fixing it. So if it lasts that long, that's more than I really worry about. From there, you know, I've given myself enough options where I can build my little tanks, I can build my bigger tanks. If I decide to build a big ginormous tank out here, I can just tap it in and then we're set. So this should be the groundwork, and then everything else can build from that. And I've got plenty of room. I can build a big old honking tank if I want to. Don't really need to. I think if I had, what did I come up with? 10 or 20,000 gallons would be enough to last the year. And the rains that I saw last year, I could fill this thing up if I had enough catchment, roof space and whatnot. So the more I catch, the less often I have to take the tank into town and haul water. Less wear and tear on the truck. It's very satisfying to be finished a major project like this. You know, once I connect that first tank, it's a functioning system. That's the thing, up until now, it's a lot of money sitting there that it's not doing anything. You know, I haven't been able to really use it. So once the first tank is in place, then it's a functioning thing that works. So that's a good feeling. Yeah, it's completely overkill for now. A small project like this always costs more because you keep adding to it instead of doing one big thing and being done. So yeah, if I looked at a big honking tank, which is not enormously a lot of money probably, and then I could have 1/3 of the amount of pipe that I have, and then I'd be done. So yeah, there's some value in that. Then again, I think that's $70 worth of 2-inch pipe. It's the fittings that got expensive, so it's not a huge deal. I think when I'm done, I'm going to go back and try to find I'm going to take pictures, see how many fittings are actually in place, and then go find a price for each of them, and then add it all up. Because I know I bought 10 2-inch pipes. That's easy. And then, you know, I look at, like, you know, yesterday I bought $60 worth of stuff at Tractor Supply, and I'm going to use probably $5 worth of that. But I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to set it up. So I needed a little bit of flexibility there. And could I have lived with 1-inch pipe instead of 2-inch pipe? Probably. That would have made everything cheaper and easier. It's harder to find the 2-inch stuff. That'd be something to look at for next time. You know, not that I'm going to do this again. Anything additional tanks, would it make more sense to do 1-inch off of them? You know, I could probably do that. I felt like I needed 2-inch here because the tank and its fittings are all 2-inch, and it does flow really nice with the 2-inch, so I don't regret that too much. But yeah, I just wanted to remember this. It's going to be very gratifying the first time I unload a tank full of water into this, and it just whoosh, you know. That's going to be nice. Okay, I think we're getting close. So the plan is, I got to get that tank down on the ground. The plastic itself isn't very heavy, and it's basically made out of a conduit type frame, so it shouldn't be too bad. We loaded it with a forklift, but I did slide it around by hand. Nice thing is they're built onto essentially a pallet, so it's fairly well protected. So my thinking, I'm going to probably slide it to the edge, roll it on its back, and then slide it down. I've got some motorcycle ramps. I'm going to try to get it to just slide down them. Hose, this end has a swivel. That's the important part. It's got a sticker on it, so I gotta take that off. But this 2-inch male-to-male nipple fitting, we'll leave this end a little bit loose, but screw this into here. Get it tight onto here, and then I can tighten the swivel to lock it in. And then what I'll have then is a short piece of flexible hose that'll make it easier to connect. And then I'll put this end on here to where I can connect it to the T fitting. So I'll hook it to the T first and this end last because I've got the swivel on this end so I can make it tight. Okay, we're down to the end. Let's see. This half of the T has been capped off already, so we're ready for the next tank on that one. So what we've got, this would have bothered me, except I didn't really like this hose anyway, but still, to take I think it's a 25-foot chunk of hose and chop it off this far from the end, that seems kind of wrong. So I'm hoping these work. I bought these band clamps. It's a really fancy hose clamp basically. So this is so short that I think it'll work out good for us. So let's slide that end on. We'll get this one on first. Hopefully my hat's not in the way. This will take care of any slight misalignments. And when I test fitted this, that's pretty good. This hose lays pretty flat. Huh, now I'm too short, how funny. It's okay, I planned for that. I'll just move the tank a little bit. There we go. This one happens to be a 7/16, whatever. Now the fitting comes all the way out to here. If I was smart, how about that? I got a pen with me. I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but this way I can kind of put the clamp to make sure I'm not hanging off the end of the fitting, right? Yeah, it's gonna be wonderful. You know, I bet this would work fine on that green hose. This blue hose is too small. All right, let's get the other hose. So much of my stuff ends up being a hack. So when I really try to do good work, and then the part that you buy at the hardware store that's labeled to work with the other part that you bought at the same hardware store, when they don't work together, it just kind of makes you sad. I've showed this before. If you ever see one of these, it's a double-ended switchblade screwdriver, and each of those has two ends on it. So you got a little Phillips and a straight on this one, and a big Phillips and a straight on this one. Well, don't waste your time using a screwdriver on a hose clamp. That's just retarded. But on this one, it just happens to be that what they did, the big one and the small one are different size hex drives. All right. So, doesn't always work, but I found on a lot of hose clamps, this hex drive fits the hose clamp just freaking perfect. How cool is that? Now your screwdriver doesn't go slipping off on you. So once again, the hose clamps from Walmart, which are probably awful quality, or at least the right size. And this is a thin hose onto a plastic fitting, so we don't want to kill it. Now I'm just looking at if this is going to stay kind of round or not, or if it's going to try to go flat on me. I think that's going to work. I may later switch this out to the green hose, which will not collapse. I like that idea, but for now this should work. With that, we officially have a water system with no water in it. Alright, thanks for watching. Go ahead and click on that like button and subscribe and notify and Patreon and all those good things. Sweet. Okay, it's probably over 100 degrees in here. Let's see, 6:13 p.m. Today's Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. Just about 210 gallons. What I found in the past is the more level that the hose is, the better this works. Okay, so where we're at, that's basically right. I'll keep an eye on that so it doesn't drop. If I wiggle the hose too much, I have a danger of breaking the tank. And then on the other end, I don't want to break my manifold off. Now this is the first time we've tested this with the manifold down in the ground, hooked up to a full tank in the truck, and now we've got the IBC in place. This is connected. This valve is open, closed, closed. I'm leaving these two open so that I can take advantage of the air that's in this vertical. That'll kind of be a shock absorber. Not so much for this, but for thermal expansion. So I'm hoping that air stays in those. So that one's open, that one's open. Now, this one going to the tank is open, the tank is open. I'm not sure if that's a vented cap, so I'm gonna leave it alone for now. I played with that a couple days ago, and that vent is the cap is a booger to get back on. Something's just a little bit flexed, I think. I got it to go on, but it wasn't easy. This one's open. This one goes to the water system, which is the blue hose, blue pipe. I think they call it pipe still. And then these are all capped off. All right. The idea is the truck tank is higher elevation than this. This holds 275 gallons. I've got 210 there. That should all come out and go into here, and I should have room to spare. I'm not worried about overfilling the tank. I'm just hoping that I've got enough vertical difference so that all of that water goes into here. If this was too high, they would equalize, and then I wouldn't get all the water in. So we'll see how that goes. So this is the first time. When I'm opening this, I try to get in the habit of holding onto the hose with one hand so I don't just sit around, because you can see this moves a little bit. Alright, water flowing. Alright, now that's going to drip. I'm not too worried about that. This moved around a little bit. I still think it's going to work. Alright. I wish that wouldn't drip. I should probably tighten that down a little more next time. And I can see I got some drips over here. That's less than ideal, but I already taped all those, I think. Okay, but it's going. Let's see, 622. Kind of see it, it's halfway between the bottom and the first pipe there. Looks like it's flowing okay. I can hear it hissing. That sounds like it's venting. I'm going to pop the cap off and see if it makes a difference. Oh yeah, it's definitely hissing, that's good. Good. I'm going to leave it half twisted on there. My thought is on a day where if I wanted to go twice in a day, I don't want to have to take this, you know, have this take an hour to unload kind of thing. Not the end of the world, but I just would rather not. Okay, we're definitely above the first pipe now. Okay, we're kind of at like 1.5 pipes now. I've only got 100 gallons left. This is great. Something I had forgotten about. Part of the manifold was drained when I was working on it last. I could get close to 100 gallons just into the manifold. I didn't completely drain it, but it's not full either. Oh, we're down to about 4 inches left in the truck tank. This is going well. Yeah, the blue pipe that goes to the pump isn't hooked up to the pump at the moment. And it was just dumping water out on the ground for me, so. Okay, let's say conservatively I got that 200 gallons out in about 20 minutes. No pump. Yeah, because this looks like it's going to be leaking on me. I'm going to shut it off for now, and then I can deal with it later. Quite a bit. I transplanted a couple of cactuses that were in my way. This one is here. Looks pretty good. You know, I'm going to fix that. My understanding is if you dig a hole trench around something, and the water will tend to stay there. Also, when it rains, that should help a little bit. There. Maybe that'll have a chance. This one I moved when I started digging for the water manifold. And it still looks pretty green. I watered it a few times, so it's getting a whole lot more water now than it would have otherwise. Okay, with the exception of what I spilt, those 2 buckets are basically full. That's what was left in the tank. The system, the manifold, the tank, drained with basically no help down to the last 10 gallons from a 210 gallon tank. That was nearly full. The rest of it, some was lost to refilling the pipes in the manifold. Some was lost on the ground over there. A little bit of a drip here. But otherwise, we are right to here. which if we count from the bottom, 1, 2, we're into the third pipe. 4 and then 5 is top. So let's say we're 60% full of 275 gallons. I'm okay with that. I suppose I could go all Donald Trump and talk about how amazingly exciting and successful this was, but water. Yeah, let's say it took 20 minutes. That's pretty good. That's very good. Yeah, down to the last 10 gallons. I'm freaking ecstatic about that. My goal, and I'm nearly there, is I bring the water, or however I get the water, I put the water into a tank, and then I flip a switch, the pump turns on, I've got running water. I want this to be invisible after that point. I just want it to be, as long as I have water, I want it to work. I don't want to be thinking about, you know, am I going to have a leak? Is the fitting going to pop off? Kind of thing. Nearly at that point now with doing laundry, I can turn the switch on, start the generator, run the laundry, go back in and edit videos on the laptop, and then go out and change it every so often, as opposed to standing there watching it, because the very first time I did have one of the fittings pop off that I kind of monkey rigged, and it blew some water, 30 psi or so. I didn't lose a lot, but you know, if I hadn't been there, then that pump would sit there and run until I ran out of water. So the PEX looks pretty solid. All of my glue fittings look really good. I don't see anything leaking there. So just a couple threaded fittings I need to tweak a little bit, and we should be good to go. That's a good feeling. And 20 minutes, I'm completely okay with that. And really, that's why I went with 2-inch pipe. You know, I could have gone 1 inch. Garden hose takes forever. Oh man, it was slow. You know, so the next time I can open the valve and walk away. And then next time I come out, it'll be done and I'll just roll the hose. You know? Or I might just sit here and drink a cold drink and watch the water run. That's pretty cool. Alright, well, as they say, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. That was kind of stupid. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.